Hey there guys, DMO73 here, bringing you another feature match for the week. Today is the Battle of the Acrylics. So I am playing the red, black, blue Dark Alice, Matchstick Dark Alice that was designed by Anthony Song of Team Ogre, and we used it to get two of our members in the top 8, and Anthony in the top 4 of Collinsville. And Nick is playing a red, white, blue American Blazer kind of creature tempo that we've seen come out of Italy, being played in Italy pretty heavily. But those are the two, Dark Alice and Blazer are the two acrylics that I own because of my top 8 finish at Collinsville and because trading for the Dark Alice. So the Battle of the Acrylics. So right off the bat, Nick plays the Gwen and then passes the turn to me. Play Levitine, get a Black Moon Memoria, and I have to pass the turn there. So this is a pretty interesting matchup just because of the fact that, with Levitine, I can get Swiftness in there for Dark Alice. So if I can get him to a point low enough in life where he's low enough for a Dark Alice swing to be lethal, then Blazer isn't necessarily super effective, because he can just die before Blazer gets flipped. But if I flip too early, then he has the possibility to just straight up kill my Blazer. But on the other hand, I have answers to be able to kill J Rulers. So if he flips without being protected or at the wrong time, then he could lose access to a lot of his deck because I could kill Blazer, and he would lose access to red. So he played a Rook Egg and then immediately sacrificed it to Gwen. He searched for a Lance, and then discarded a little Scout, and then passed the turn. Goes to me, Callstone pass. It's pretty standard couple first opening turns. So staring down 2 Guinevere's. I did go ahead and exile the Rook Egg with Dark Alice to try to get some cards starting to get into his RFG zone. Plays the 3rd Gwen. Plays another Rook Egg. And out comes Gwyver. So lots of stuff right off the bat. So he's going to go ahead and sacrifice the 1 Rook Egg again. Get another search out. Thinning his deck pretty big. Gets the Earther. So hitting that Gwyver pretty early can be pretty dangerous for me, like pretty difficult for me to deal with. I essentially have to answer it right now, otherwise I'm in pretty bad shape. Finish resolving the Gwen. And then he just passes the turn. I'm going to go ahead and exile 2 more cards, the high cost cards, because I know he has an Earther. So hit a Rook Egg in the Valentina that he discarded. Then I recover. Go ahead and decide to do Judgment here. I've got 3 cards removed. In response to the Dark Alice effect, he's going to resolve some Guinevere's to try to draw some more cards. He's going to discard, then he's going to resolve the other Guinevere. He's thinking about whether or not he wants to resolve it. Go ahead and decides to do it. Some more cards. And then I'm going to go ahead and call 5. I resolved a couple things out of order here. That's why there's that little edit. I was talking with Nick and saying what I wanted to do, and I kind of just misresolved some things. So that's why there's a little jump. But everything works out in the end. So doing God's Art with Walpurgis Knight to get the Schrodinger out, and then I play the Soul Hunt, and that's why you see the Match Girl in my graveyard. Ta-da, makes sense, yeah. You see the Match Girl in my graveyard, and his field was clear. We just kind of got ahead of ourselves and did some things out of order there, but we fixed it. So now he's got that permanent -2/-2. You see that little emblem there. That's just a reminder to him that he's got the -2 on his board, and I completely forget to swing for damage. So really great misplay on my part there. So going into Nick's turn, he has the choice of whether or not he wants to flip with Blazer, but he knows about Matchstick Girls. He knows the danger of Matchstick, because at this point in time, Blazer would only be an 8/8. So if I can get even two matches, then Blazer just dies and he gets cut off from red for the rest of the game, which is not too great for him. So he plays Hera and then tries to kill my Levitine. I sack it for Imperishable, and then he plays Rukeg. This is honestly not this is a situation that honestly he could have just permanently killed Dark Alice, which would have made for a very interesting game, but he decides to play it a little safe. So he plays the Rukeg, and it immediately gets destroyed because of the Walpurgis Knight. Searches for another Earther. Because what he could have done is played Hera to target the Levitine, make me sack for Imperishable, and then just flip Blazer there, which removes the Imperishable, so then I'm just out of luck. But he risks, again, he still risks the fact that I have answers to his J-Ruler too. And it's actually a little bit more dangerous for him to lose Blazer than for me to lose Dark Alice, simply because of the fact that losing Blazer for him cuts him off from red for his deck. So going into my turn, I went into combat. I swung for 900. He blocked with the Hera. I play Apollo and a Death Scythe, and I just pass the turn there. So he taps for another stone, gets a water stone. In case you didn't notice, I'm not wearing my gloves. We were doing some kind of conversation and testing a little bit before we did the video, and I forgot to put the gloves back on when we transitioned to the video because I was taking care of Alice. So he plays Muse. He calls Resonator because the deck has 37 Resonators. Unfortunately, he revealed one of the 3 Flame King shouts in the deck. So he whiffed on the Muse, which is very unlikely to happen. So 2 more for Lancelot, and then 1 more for the Gwyber. So he's going to go ahead and swing at 400. In response to the swing, I'm going to go ahead and play Endless Night on the Gwyber. So that'll kill the Gwyber instantly, and then the board gets -2/-2. So I only take 200 from the Lancelot swing. Going into my turn. I see another Apollo. That's really what I wanted to see, because I need to try to be able to do Awakenings with Match Girl. So I'm going to go ahead and kill the Lancelot with Dark Alice, and then pay 4 to play Matchstick with double Awakening, or the Awakening of 2 to grab 2 little magic Matchsticks from my deck. So at this point I'm feeling pretty good because I have the other Matchstick in hand, so I've got essentially 1200 damage at instant speed that I can just cast. And with Walpurgis Knight, the gods are active. That's puts me in a pretty good position here, because even, I can essentially kill anything that he throws out at instant speed with those matches. Muse is a pretty good counter to that, just because of the fact that anything that gets dealt damage less than its defense is protected. So I have to kill the Muse, which would normally be a bad thing, but The problem there is the fact that the Muse is now a 200-400, so I can just drop one match and kill Muse. So I place one of the Flame King Shouts. He's going to target Dark Alice. I'm going to respond by sacking the Schrodinger to give it Imperishable. So he plays Lancelot. Goes to swing with Lancelot. I block it with Magic Girl. It's because she's a 6/6, so she'll be able to stop the 4/4 Lance. He swings Uther into my Match Girl, so in response I'm going to send a Matchstick at Muse and 2 Matchsticks at Uther to save my Matchstick Girl. So I draw. I don't really know why I did that right then. Bounced the Matchstick Girl back to my hand with Apollo. I didn't really need to. I could have swung for 600 damage and then just kind of bounced it when it was needed. So that was a little bit of a misplay. Would have gotten some damage in there, but especially since I can't replay it immediately. But I play Izanami because I get the 3rd Black Moon Memoria, and I've got Call of the Primogenitor in my hand. So you see that Guinevere come out. Two more for Lancelot. So this is an interesting position for him to be in, because again, my 6/6s could now beat his Lancelot 4/4s. So he goes to swing in. Debating whether or not I want to take the damage. I swing. I block with the Izanami. In response to the block, he's going to go ahead and pump Lancelot to be a 6/4. He's thinking about whether or not to do 7/4, but he's like, that makes no sense. So we trade. So saved myself some damage there, which was great. Now I'm back to a position where I can use my mana, or use my floating will there at the end as a will sync with Dark Alice. So I'm going to start exiling lots of cards, in addition to the fact that he has been exiling cards for Uther. So that's one of the things about Dark Alice that's pretty nice, is the fact that Uther really isn't that great against me, because you kind of naturally fuel Dark Alice's pumps a little bit more. So it's kind of tricky there. So I play Matchstick with Awakening for 2. You grab 2 matches from my grave. Going into next turn. Just gonna go ahead and sacrifice Guinevere to try to get some more cards out, see if he can find something helpful. See that Adamberly. The problem right now is, he discards the Adamberly. The problem right now is that Adamberly is essentially dead, because the things that he would normally sacrifice will just immediately die as soon as they get onto the board, being the Alice's little scout and the Rook Egg. So he's gonna grab another Uther. Play the Uther and respond to the effect by tossing 2 matches at her. So even though my Match Girl's gonna die, so is the Uther. So I'm gonna go ahead and call for a stone and pass the turn to me. Draw, use the Darkness Will to get another card removed. So Dark Alice has removed 5 cards on her own at this point, but we've got at least 9 cards removed, thanks to the Earther plays that he's been making. So just play 1 to score a Dark Alice. Hit that Earther out of his hand, leaving him with just a Flame King Shout, which is not very effective. And then I just pass the turn, because I got nothing else to do. That Call of the Primogenitor is probably going to get used here shortly to help me kind of get stuff back. So he plays 1 blue to play the Alice's Little Scout, immediately dies, so it gets to draw another card, hoping that he draws into something helpful, and then just passes the turn. So I'm going to go ahead and play Call of the Primogenitor with the Awakening, so I get to grab Match Girl from my graveyard and a Darkness Resonator from my deck. See that Dark Arthur come out. And then 2 more cards are going to get removed by Dark Alice, and then I'm going to recover. So at this point in time, we definitely have at least 10 removed cards, RFG cards. Tap for another stone, get a Darkness Stone. I'll go ahead and play the Dark Arthur. So now he's got to deal with a -4/-4 on his board. I'm going to play the Magic Matchstick on the Dark Arthur, meaning that he has first strike and swiftness, and swing in and finally get some damage in there. So 10 damage to Nick. Nick calling for a stone, hoping that draw gets him into something. Flame King Shout Earther, targeting my Dark Arthur. Debating whether or not I want to try to save him. I just let it die. It's not worth wasting the Apollo because Match Girl's going to come out next turn anyway. So I take 600 damage. Nick calls his last stone. And at this point, just to put a creature on board, I think he just hard casts the Atom Brawly. Draw for my turn. Checking to see whether or not I have enough creatures to be able to remove for Dark Arthur. I do not. So I'm going to exile a card from his grave again. And recover. Tap for stone, get another Ruler's Memoria. Do Matchstick Girl for just 1. And then play Lucifer. Forces him to sacrifice one of his creatures. He uses the Earther. Then I play the Matchstick that I just grabbed and put it on Lucifer, who gets Swiftness then, so flying in the air for 9 damage, so down to 21. Swings for 4 damage. I block with Match Girl, thus killing the Atom Brawly, because 4/6 dies to 6/6. So here's a pretty fun play. He goes, play Lancelot, spend the rest of his will to pump it up. So it's going to be a 12/4 Lancelot. He decides to burn my Matchstick Girl and swing into the Lucifer, which is honestly the best play for him to do, to trade. there because of the fact that I would get to start gaining life if he let that Lucifer stay, and that would just put him in a position where he just couldn't win at that point. Like if I connected with a single life-linked Dark Alice or Lucifer, he would just be done. So just tap for stone and pass the turn. When he draws, I make him discard it with Izanami, forcing him to be at 0 cards. Gonna make him remove 6 more cards from the grave. So it's like 18, 20, maybe 20 cards removed at this point. I have 3 monsters in my graveyard, so I'm going to bring back the Dark Arthur and recover all my will. Pay 3, pay 4. Bring out Dark Arthur. Play another Apollo on the board. Tap for another stone and pass. Plays Muse, calls Resonator, gets Resonator, and it's the Valentina, so I know he's going to try to steal it. In response to the seal, I'm going to return my Dark Arthur back to my hands because I don't want him taking it. Draw. I'm going to do Space-Time Anomaly during my upkeep on the, and then get rid of the Muse, and then exile even more cards. Play Levitine, so I can start getting some swings in there with Dark Alice. Play another Death Scythe. Now that I've killed all the 4-drops, I can play Dark Arthur. I'm going to swing for 13 damage with Dark Alice, putting Nick down to 8. Nick plays 2, plays the Hera to make me sack Imperishable, just like he did earlier in the game when he could have killed Dark Alice. He makes that play now, so he forces me to get Imperishable and then just flips Blazer and kills me. So now I do not have any of Dark Alice's abilities, but she's already done God's Art and he's already low enough life that it's not super important. Plus that Hera is only a 1/1 right now, so it pretty much dies to anything. During the upkeep, I'm going to Space-Time Anomaly from the grave on the Hera. And then swing for lethal. He goes to block, and I just cast the 2 Space Anomalies I have in my hand to kill the Blazer. So that's going to be the end of that game. So we're going to go into game 2. Nick's going to show you all the cards that were in his RFG zone. How we move on to the next game. When I have my gloves on, because I caught the fact that I wasn't wearing my gloves, and so I put them back on. So here we go, game 2. Let's see if this game goes any differently. So Nick flips that blue stone off the top, plays the Alice's Little Scout, and passes. Play my Levitine, get a Ruler's Memoria. Really excellent for this deck to see off the top. Play Soul Hunt. I know he's going to get to draw a card off of the Little Scout, but I'm okay with that, because primarily I just want to get cards in the grave to start RFGing them. Catch the fact that Soul Hunt is not on the board anymore. Decides to put you to play Hera. I sack it in response, so he doesn't get to draw the card. He gets a little ahead of himself, so I put that card back on top. Play Levitine, the other Levitine I had in my hand, so I can still call for stone without fear of missing a drop, and I just pass the turn. Plays the Muse, calls Resonator, and unfortunately, the second time in a row, he misses it and hits the Flame King Shout. Sings for 5. I take the 500 damage from the Hera. I'm going to make him exile those 2 cards. And just passes the turn. So, I'm up to 3 stones here now. And I go ahead and pass again. Dark Alice deck is all about patience. Just like the old Dark Alice the blue-black Dark Alice that we put on there. So he plays Guinevere, he plays Rook Egg. No responses to any of that stuff. I know the Gwyber's coming. I'm deciding whether or not I want to try to mess with it right now. But I decided it's best for me to go ahead and bait out the Gwyber. So Gwyber's going to come out. He's going to swing with Hera in response. I'm going to Endless Night on the Gwyber. So killing it and giving everything -2/-2. So I actually only take 300 damage from that Hera, which is pretty relevant here. So it's going to get to do the search from Rook Egg. Grabbing another Guinevere. Oh, he decides to grab Lancelot instead. So swings at me for 200 with the Muse. So I'm down to 30. And then let's pass the turn so I get to draw. Another get a Black Moon Primordial off the top there. Go ahead and play Lilith with Awakening to kill the Muse, getting me 400 life. He could have sacrificed it to Guinevere there, but I think in the long run he was waiting to maybe possibly save it for something else. But yeah, he definitely could have sacrificed the Muse, whatever I targeted with Lilith, to Guinevere to prevent the life gain. Got that Rook Egg. Plays the Lancelot. It's now a 6/6. Still 6/6. Plays another Gwyber. Swings for 6 with Lancelot. Go ahead and take it. Going down to 28. And he passes the turn. Tapping for stone, paying 5 for the Matchstick, so I get to grab 3 matches out of my deck. Little match girl. And then I just pass the turn. So what Nick doesn't know is I have the 4th one in hand, so I've got all 4 of my matches available for me. Just gonna pay tap for stone. Sorry about the weird camera setup, guys. Trying to record in my new house has been kind of wonky. Still trying to set things up. So he plays Earther. He's going to target my little match girl. In response, I'm going to go ahead and drop 3 matches on Gwyber and 1 on the Lancelot. And the idea there is if he goes to combat, he has to swing with Lancelot. And I can just block with Lilith, and Lilith will kill him without having to die. So kind of locking, isn't in a sense trying to kind of lock him out of combat. Doesn't really matter though, because he sacrifices the Rook Egg. You'll see why in a second. He sacrifices the Rook Egg to get another Lancelot. And actually draws into the Hector there. So he's gonna pay 1. Oh, pay 2. He actually only has to pay. Plays the Muse. Gets the Flanking Shout again. And then pays the 1 red. No, the 1 colorless to play Hector because he has Lancelot on the board. So he just pumps up Lance to being at 1,000. So he gets to burn my Lilith, and I have to take 10, taking me down to 18. And then 5 from here, taking me down to 13. So drawing into my turn, he's got a lot of 2-drops on the board, so I think now's the time that I probably try to flip Dark Alice. Hoping that, especially since he's already committed a Hera. So I'm going to make him RFG 1 card, which will put me at 3 cards removed for Dark Alice. Trying to do some math here for whether or not I want to make him remove 3 cards before I flip to try to get the damage pump. But I just make him exile 1 after a little bit of debating. So I'm up to 3 cards removed. I'm going to flip. Nick's tapped out, doesn't have anything to do instant speed responses, so I'm just going to make him sacrifice all of his 2s. Clearing the board, getting 4 of those guys off the board. Going to go ahead and do the God's Art. Giving him his little emblem to remind him. And then killing the Earther with my Dark Alice. So I'm a 9 at this point because he's removed some cards. I'm a 14/14. And then so I get to kill his Earther, and then for giggles I just play the Barrier Shadows, which honestly isn't super smart. And you know, I could have just, if I was playing competitively, I probably wouldn't even play the Barrier against Blazer. It's kind of irrelevant, and I can bluff that I have more cards in my, a more powerful play in my hand by leaving 3 will open. Right now I have 2 will open because of Schrodinger. He goes ahead and recovers after he draws and just sacrifices the Guinevere to itself, trying to draw into some options. Kind of in a bad way here because I have 2 ways to give myself imperishable, one of which can't be hit by Hera. So if he plays tries to do the Hera flip, I can just sacrifice Schrodinger after Blazer removes my imperishable, and I'll still get it back. Debating when he wants to discard with Gwen. Oh. Maybe he already did and I just missed it. So he plays the Flame King Shout. Out comes Earther. In response, I'm going to sacrifice to give it imperishable. It takes the Gwyver and the Hector. Killing my Dark Alice, so she flips back over. Swings in for 600 damage, so that puts me down to 7. At this point in time, if he had an Athena in his board, it'd be in his hand, it'd be pretty devastating. He has Lancelot. So he swings in, taps for a stone, swings in for 4. I obviously have no blocks. In response to no blocks, he goes to pump the Lancelot up. In response to the pumps, I use Schrodinger and my Ruler's Memoria to give it a space-time anomaly. It gets a draw card. He said nothing else, we pass the turn to me. Sitting at 7 life is not a good position for me to be in. Play a couple of Apollos. I do Judgment again. Call 3 to pop the Earther. Deciding whether or not I want to do Awakening for 5 or for 6. I'll go ahead and do it for 5. Oh, nope, I go ahead and decide to do it for 6. So I got all 4 of my matches back from my graveyard. So now I'm sitting at 1600 damage at instant speed in my hand. He's got a Walpurgis Knight, so everything's -2/-2. And I get to swing in for 14 damage at his face, taking him down to 26. So I'm feeling pretty secure here. If he flips Blazer, he knows it's dead. So I'm essentially just giving him that warning of like, go ahead and flip, you'll lose it. He's only got 2 cards in hand at this point. So he's thinking about what he wants to play. He does have the Athena in his hand. Unfortunately, I'm just not quite low enough that he has enough will to be able to burn me to death with the Athena. So I'm at 7 life. So he goes, pays 3 for the Athena. So it's a 5/5. He's going to tap for stone. And he's going to burn us both for 400. So he's going to play the Guinevere. And then he's going to burn us all for 400 damage there. So we're both going to take 4. This puts me down to 3. In response to the burns, though, I'm going to go ahead and use 2 of my matchsticks to kill her, so that she won't get pumped up. But we both take 4, so I'm down to 3, he's down to 22, and he's left with just a Gwen on board. Drawn to turn. During the upkeep, debating whether or not to use my space-time anomaly. Yeah, go ahead and use the space-time anomaly from my graveyard to get rid of the Gwen. He's going to go ahead and respond by sacrificing it. Draws into Hera and Earther. Doesn't really matter at this point, though. Dark Alice swings in for 14. Puts him down to 800. Master Girl swings for 6, taking him down to 2. And then I just play Dark Arthur and use one of the matches to give it swiftness and swing in for lethal. So there you have it, guys. That is the match. Deck list up this Saturday. Let me know what you thought in the comment sections down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, this is DMO73 signing off.